Welcome to Creative Conversations, where creatives connect and inspire. I'm Sophia, and today we'll be diving into the creative world of Siobhan, where we'll be talking about her beautiful floral paintings. Let's get started. Siobhan, thank you so much for coming on today. We've known each other for years, but never actually met in person. How crazy.
That's right. Hi, Sophia. It's an absolute pleasure to be here today. Yes, we've followed each other for a long time now, and so it's fantastic to finally catch up.
I know,
Absolutely.
Isn't it? We finally get the excuse to chat all things art, talk about how much we love flowers, and just kind of talk about how you got into it. So shall we start there?
Yeah.
Where did your painting start? Where did it begin?
It's actually a great story, Sophia. It still gives me goosebumps. So,
oh, really? I love a good story.
Yeah, it's such a great story because I never painted in my life till lockdown, and I was working in finance, in tax.
No way!
I was doing a very, very different job, and I actually never knew I could paint. So it was lockdown. Yeah, my husband and I were watching TV and thinking, oh God, another boring program. And he said, let's do something interesting together as a couple. So I said, okay, what should we do? And he said, let's paint. Because, couples can do that. It's fun together. And I thought, oh God, I don't think so. Not for me. But he bought some easels and some canvases on Amazon, and we both did a painting. And I did a cherry blossom tree. He did a wave. He got really frustrated and threw us out the door. And my first painting sold like the following week. And I thought,
no way.
Happen?
What? Your first ever painting?
First ever painting. And I just thought it was so simplistic. And this guy on LinkedIn said, oh, it's my wife's birthday. I really love that painting. I think she'll love it. She loves cherry blossom. Would you sell it to me? And I said, yes, of course. And he said, how much? And I was like, well, I don't know.
Exactly.
What am I going to charge? So I said, like 60 quid. It was a big painting. But I thought, it's my
You probably thought that was loads back then, didn't you?
I just thought, wow, I couldn't believe it. So it's amazing. So I was working in marketing, and which has benefited me with my art because, I've got a marketing diploma. So that's really helped. And
I bet it has.
So it just started from there. And I had a licensing company contact me, and I thought, oh, it must be a scam. This is too good to be true. And I had an agent contact me about my originals going into galleries. And I thought, how is this?
Wait, so this all happened straight away after that one painting?
Yeah, after that one painting, within 6 weeks, I was signed up for a licensing company.
What?
This painting here, which I've kept, which is an original.
That is beautiful, that painting.
And it's quite simplistic, but it's one of my very first paintings. And I remember it went into Next, and I was just ecstatic. And I said to my two sons, it was like near Christmas, oh, I've just gone into Next. And they was Mum, we're watching the football. Do you mind? And I was like so excited,
That is incredible. So from selling one painting that you did with your husband, and then straight into getting it into more commercial purposes, that's crazy.
Yes.
Wow.
It's crazy. And I'd never picked up a paintbrush in my life, Sophia.
Really?
I had never painted. I don't know where it came from. So I think it was sort of hidden away.
Did it feel like something else is speaking to you when you created it? Some artists feel like that, like it's a voice in your head just kind of guiding
amazing.
You. Really?
Yes, I kind of just woke up with the images. And as a child, I loved art, but I didn't pursue anything with it. And I did a history of art A-level, but I never did any painting or, and I kind of put it to the background and went into finance. So it's been hidden all this time,
Wow.
And if anyone had said to me 10 years ago, where would you be at the age of 55? I would say, I would not guess here.
No, that's really, really inspiring, especially for me or any young artists that listen to you, that you never know when that moment's going to happen where you could just take off, And I think probably having that background, did you say in marketing?
Yes, and finance and admin.
All that stuff is so important for being an artist. I struggle with it personally, and it's great that you have that skill set as well. And knowing your worth, would you say after selling that first painting, which to be fair, 60 quid for your first painting, you can't really, you can't, that's not bad. Yeah. But are you good at knowing your worth and charging accordingly?
I am now, yes. Now that my work's become more commercial, it's
Yeah.
easier for me to put a price on. And you know yourself how much effort will go into a
Oh,
painting,
yeah,
and
definitely.
the amount of work that can go into a painting is not just the materials; it's the time you spend on it. And they're quite personal to you. If someone commissions me to do some landscapes or flowers, it'll be in my style, as you know, because that's how you paint, isn't it? And
Yeah,
most of my
exactly.
paintings are not really done with paintbrushes. They're done with my fingers or with sponges. I find things all over the house, straw,
Really, I love
they're
mark making.
mostly. Oh, I love it. And I think it's because I'm so passionate to get it on there
Yeah,
that I just don't want to be sitting fiddling around. And I'm not
fantastic.
self-critical. I won't go back and think, oh, that flower's petal's not right, because like nature isn't perfect, is it?
Yeah,
Every flower is,
yeah.
imperfect, and especially wildflowers. It's probably why I love them. It's just so
You
they can
literally
be
sound
anything
like
you want
me.
them.
Because this is what I
Yeah,
say, and that's what. But people go, "Why
yeah,
do you paint flowers so much?" It's because it's an expression. There's no wrong or right with painting flowers. So you can just flow, and you can go into like a meditative
absolutely.
I always get my words
That's
confused on this
it.
podcast. But you go into this flow state, and it doesn't matter. And that's what's great about flowers is you can be abstract with it. You can paint with straws and sponges to create that effect, and
Absolutely.
it gives you a lot of creative freedom while just
It
painting
does.
nature, doesn't it? That's why I love it.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
it's amazing. And it is. It's like it's very therapeutic to just go in there. Like that white door behind me there is where my studio is, where all the magic happens. And I'm so lucky to have that really nice
No.
room to paint in.
Yeah,
And it's
that's
absolutely
incredible.
covered in paint. The rest of the house is immaculate. And then you've got that one room, which is great. I can make so much mess. Like I'm normally covered in paint, Monday to Friday. So I quite like to dress up and look a bit normal sometimes.
I bet you do, but all of us artists, before I started modelling, I used to really appreciate the days where I'd put a bit of makeup on and feel pretty, because it's
Yeah,
true. When you paint, most of the time, you are just in like dungarees covered in paint, no
yeah,
makeup, hair up.
absolutely.
But then don't you find
Yeah.
that the pressures of social media, you have to look as
Oh
if
yeah,
you look stunning while you're painting all the time? Like, oh, I wake up and
absolutely.
look ethereal while I'm painting my flowers.
Yes,
It's all a lie.
yes. I saw a lot, and I have this thing, Sophia, where I don't know why, but I like to coordinate my outfits to my paintings. It's
No,
really silly.
I
So
do
when I go on
too.
social media, yeah, do you do that? And like if
Yeah.
I look like blue flowers, like this one behind me, like that, I would wear something blue with that. And I
Yeah.
just but you're right, the whole social media and admin side is a huge part of being an artist. I think,
Yeah.
20 years ago, even less, an artist would be in their studio and you wouldn't really know about them. But
No.
now with social media, you have to put yourself out there,
You really
because
do, don't
otherwise
you?
you're just another artist in a room painting and you're invisible to the world. So I think that social media side takes up such a huge amount of your time,
It
just to,
really
to, to
does.
get your,
And
your
it can
work
get in
out
the
there.
way of
Yeah,
the creative flow sometimes when you're
it
setting up
does.
cameras,
Yeah,
trying to do time lapses, trying to
yeah,
film each step
absolutely.
of the painting, and it takes away from
Yeah,
just being able to flow.
it does. It does.
But
And,
it's a
and
double-edged
it is
sword,
needed. It
isn't
is,
it?
yeah.
Because at the same time, it's free promotion for us artists. And like, say
It
you and me,
is.
we would have discovered each other unless it was for Instagram, right? And how many years have we supported each
Absolutely.
other, commenting on each other's work, sharing each other's stuff? And,
Yeah.
that's where Instagram's an amazing platform and you can create like a community. So that part is
Yeah.
fantastic.
Oh, it's lovely. And the community, as you say, is so nice. I've made so many lovely friends, all in the same boat, all artistic and, just nice people. I find artists in general are just really nice people, like just
Yeah.
real, very real
Yeah.
and
That's why
very
I love
authentic.
artists.
Yeah, I
It is,
find that
it is
definitely.
lovely. And I feel, how many artists in person do you think you hang out with? Because don't you find that they're always
I
far away and it's always online?
Oh, always. Yeah. I in Norwich where I am, through Instagram, I've physically met a group of 6 artists, which is
Oh, really?
amazing. All,
Wow.
all ladies that live nearby, different ages, from like 23 up to 50 odd, and just really nice people. Yeah, I've wanted to become a very good friend, so that's been really lovely.
Oh, that's so cool. I'd love to do that one
Yeah,
day. Because I feel like
that's nice.
I've said it a few times on podcasts that it can be a bit lonely sometimes when you're
It
painting.
is.
And it's nice to
Yes,
have
it's
other
a very,
creatives.
absolutely, and probably like yourself, you can lock yourself away for days
Yeah.
without actually seeing anybody. I mean, you see your family and you're talking to friends on the phone and stuff, but you're not actually physically being with anyone.
No.
And it can be quite solitary, and yeah, that's something you've got to sort of force yourself to maybe have a day where you don't go in your studio and you meet
Yeah.
up with friends and do stuff. Yeah,
Are you quite good
which
at
is,
giving yourself time off from your art? Because I know a lot of us artists feel like we have to
yeah.
be creating every minute of the day, otherwise we're not going to be successful.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and you do feel a certain sort of
Yeah.
guilt if you're not actually doing anything.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I do give myself a bit of time off. We've got a family business. I'll go in there and I'll do the HR and the marketing. I did last week for one day, and so I'll spend days doing different things. But really, I just want to be in there painting. But you have to be in the headspace, otherwise
Yeah.
comes out or the wrong thing comes out on your canvas. You have to be in that right frame of mind to paint, I
It's
think.
so true, isn't it? And no one else can tell you when that moment is. You as an artist
No,
know,
no,
like, today I'm feeling
yeah,
creative, or no, today is not the day. But on those days that you're not, that's
absolutely.
probably the time to be focusing on social media and the admin side of
Yes,
things, probably.
that's right.
Yeah.
It definitely is because that is quite time consuming. So, you can spend a day just catching up on your social media or doing your admin or updating your website. I built my website myself on Shopify, pretty basic, but
Oh, really? Wow.
you still got to update it yourself. And I just went on YouTube and Googled how to build a website. And so, I haven't had to sort of fork out a lot of expenses towards my career. So it's been quite nice. I tend to manage most of it, all of it actually myself, which is quite good. Not
That's
that I'm a
fantastic.
control freak or anything.
No, you're not. In fact, I really look up to you. You're such a hustler and you're so good at promoting yourself and your work.
Thank you.
It is incredible.
Thank
And
you.
like, can I ask, like, because are you represented in galleries as well?
Yeah, I'm represented in galleries all over the UK.
This is what I mean.
The
It's
Marylebone Gallery
amazing.
in London.
Could you
Yeah,
possibly
and
give a bit
they
of advice
contact me.
for me and for other aspiring artists how you could go about getting yourself in galleries and getting seen by brands like Next? How do you? Let's start with galleries because I feel like they're two separate things. How
Yeah,
how would you approach a gallery as an aspiring
I
artist?
think for, for the galleries, initially I got approached by an agent.
Oh, really?
I'm not with that agent anymore because he's retired. So I have stayed with some of the galleries that he put me in touch with. But the other galleries have contacted me on Instagram
No way. That's
and
amazing.
just said, "We really like your work. Would you be interested in putting some of your paintings with us?" And that's what I've done. So I take a punt and I'll just send two or three originals to each gallery. And like the Marleybone probably has about 12 originals now that I sent a couple of weeks ago. So they've
Wow.
got most of them. And that seems to be my biggest selling gallery. But there are other galleries around the UK. I think in general, they are saying that art is struggling at the moment because it is seen as a luxury, isn't it?
It is.
And
Yes.
people, are being a bit more cautious with their money, I believe. And I just feel it is a luxury. So I feel very lucky that I have been doing quite well. And long may it continue.
Yeah, exactly. But I think a lot of it is just constantly putting your work out there for people to see and connect with. And you're really
It
good at
is.
that. And you're not shy to show your face. And I do think that's important because people like to connect with the artist as well as the art.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I think that's really important. I try to make it, as you say, so that so people can see actually who's behind the painting, because that is important. People want to see, don't they, the artist.
Yeah, that's so true. So can I
And so
ask?
I'll do myself little photo shoots. Yeah.
Yeah, I love your little photos. In fact, before I started
Yeah.
modeling, I was the same. Like, I would. This is before, like, I probably deep down knew I wanted to model. I feel like you'd be really good at modeling too, actually. But it's like, you
My
like being in
claim
front of the
to fame.
camera.
Yeah, my claim to fame was I was in the Miss Ireland competition
No
a long time
way!
ago. I was in the
Fantastic.
Dublin final. Yeah, and
Wow. That's so cool.
I'll share some photos with you later if you
Please
like.
do. That would be
But
great.
it wasn't really my thing. I was a little bit shy, and I just thought, they'd asked me when I was at wine bar with my friends if I'd enter, and I said, okay then. But afterwards, I thought, oh, not really me, because it was quite intimidating.
I bet.
Having to walk in a swimsuit, and it just wasn't me. So I never really did anything with that side of things. I was more sort of academic at that time,
Yeah.
and I was sort of concentrating on my career. So it wasn't really something that I enjoyed. Now I really enjoy it because I've got more confidence as I've sort of got older. So I think I just probably wasn't as confident back then.
It's quite an overwhelming thing to do.
22.
And I remember when I was
22 and
quite young, I got scouted to do pageants, and I remember being really excited about it, and then all my friends taking the mick out of me for it, being like, oh, you're going to wear all that makeup and wear big dresses and you're going to... And I remember being like, oh, no, I'm not going to do that, actually. And it's only now as I've got older that I really don't care what people think. Like, take it or leave it. Do you know what I mean?
I think you're so right. I think you get to a point where, actually, this is me. And this is who I should have been all those years ago. So I'm just going to be me.
Yeah.
And I think that's the way I do it now. I just think, and my sons are really proud of me. Like, they're super proud of me. Like, I've got a 7-year-old and a
that's so lovely.
And like 6 and they're just gorgeous and just the loveliest boys ever. And they're just like, we're so proud of you, Mum. And that's probably my biggest thing that I've got from anything I've done is having my kids say stuff like that,
And it's inspiring for your kids too, to see you making money and doing what you're passionate about and being successful at it.
Absolutely.
Following what you love. That's so good for kids to see, rather than just kind of thinking you have to follow the system, do a boring job you hate and 9 to 5 and not enjoy what you do. Like, to watch your mum be an inspiration must be fantastic.
Absolutely, and that's so rewarding, actually.
Yeah. So can I ask, what is the scariest part of being a creative person?
I think that's a good question. The scariest part is you don't want to fail, do you? You want to be successful. No. So you push yourself all the time. For me, I've started on this journey and I've put so much work into it. It's a real dedication. And for me, failure is not an option. It's a fear, but it's not an option for me because I will just keep striving and striving and striving. And I have got that ambition where I think I can do this. Other people can do it. Why can't I? And I think, for me, I think that is the biggest thing for me. I'm really hardworking, which helps. And I just think I'll just keep pushing myself forward all the time.
Yeah. So probably that failure of fear is what drives you forward in some ways. And I think that's what a lot of us should do, is those fears is turn it into motivation.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people thrive on that sort of, that fear, because it does push you, because you can get a bit complacent and think, oh, whatever. But I think if you have that sort of ambitious fear, it does strive, push you to strive for more, definitely.
I think I have a bit of a fear of the mundane, living a normal life and just being a bit bored.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. That scares me. Like, I want to know that I live my life to the fullest and experience things and travelled and like the things that I aspire to achieve one day. I want to know that I gave it my all and tried rather than just avoided it.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean?
I do feel that about you, though, because you're so multidimensional, aren't you? You have so many different talents.
Yeah, and I think now as I've got older, thank you. So are you, and it's amazing meeting other women that are confident in themselves and willing to be like, I can do multiple things. I'm not just one thing.
That's right. And women that are pushing each other up as well, they're together on this journey. It's nice. We need
Isn't it refreshing when women are there to like bolster each other up rather than take each other down?
Absolutely.
I'm very passionate about that.
100%.
It's funny, I look crazy sometimes because when I'm in the street and I see another woman, sometimes when women look at each other, it can seem a bit catty, a bit like, and it probably doesn't even mean to be, but I make a concerted effort to smile at most women when they walk past, and sometimes to the point where I look slightly crazy because I will smile at them, and when they smile back at me, I'm like, yay, they smiled at me, yay, women all getting on. Do you know what I mean? Because
absolutely. I do that.
Yeah.
It's when they don't smile back at you, you feel like, oh, I am crazy, but then
No,
you shouldn't, because that says
no.
more about them than you, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
No, I feel like women have been trained to be competitive with each other over years of conditioning, and we need to break
Definitely,
that barrier down and just be there to support each other. And
definitely.
I
Just
love telling other
support each
women
other.
they're beautiful, they're talented. I think it's
Yeah,
great to just
yeah.
scream that from the
Oh, it's
rooftops.
great, and we
Yeah.
should do that,
Yeah.
because a lot of women struggle to be able to say to another woman, "You're beautiful, you're talented," but we
Yeah.
should. Why shouldn't we? It's
Yeah.
good for us all.
Yeah, of course. And being confident in
It's
yourself
so
really helps with
important.
selling your art as well and showing yourself on
It it
galleries and
really
exhibitions and
does.
Instagram, isn't it? I don't know, I feel like most of the time, like when I look at you, your paintings make sense. Your energy, your look, your beauty, you're very like happy and
Thank you.
light to be around. And your paintings also have like a similar vibe and feeling to it. And that's what's nice, is you are
Oh,
your
that's lovely.
paintings. Do you know?
Yes, thank you. That's lovely. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Which I would say the same about you, because you're floral and pretty, aren't you? And all of
Thank
those
you.
things that are nice.
So,
I do agree with you.
thank you. So, can I ask, do you believe that there's such thing as bad art? Can it, are mistakes a real
No,
thing, bad art?
no, and I don't think there are any mistakes ever in a piece of art. Art
No.
is, in my opinion, whatever the artist wants to put on a canvas. And, you know, you might not like that. People might think, oh, that's rubbish, or people might think, I don't see the sense in that. But actually, that's come from the artist's thoughts,
Yeah.
and it'll be beautiful no matter what it is. In my opinion, there's no such thing as bad art. Absolutely not. No.
No. I completely agree. And like,
What do you think? Do you think there is?
I think it's subjective as well, isn't it? Like, I wouldn't look at a
Yeah,
piece of art and say that's bad, but I might say I don't like it. But there's probably pieces
yeah,
that
yeah,
I've created that I've made and maybe disliked. But then
yes,
sometimes, like I don't know, a few weeks go past, I look at that piece and I think, oh, it just needs a splash of orange, and suddenly it's
yeah,
elevated and it's an amazing piece.
absolutely.
So how can you judge
Yes, I
that?
agree with you.
Sometimes you're just not in the right
Absolutely,
frame of mind for that piece, and you just need to wait and come
absolutely.
back.
Yeah, because sometimes you're right. I look at a painting that I've done a few months ago and I think, oh, it looks a bit gloomy. And
Yeah.
I think I'll add some more bright flowers to it and
Mm,
lighten it up a little bit. But I think you're
mm.
right. I think bad art, I don't think is the right phrase. I think, as you say, I think we've all got different taste. And I
Yes.
might not like some art. And there are artists, quite famous artists, I look at the art and think, I personally don't particularly like that style. But
No.
for them, it's what's in their thoughts, isn't it?
Yeah, and as artists, like we have to be okay with the fact that everyone's got different tastes. Like I know people that don't like
Yeah,
floral paintings, so we're not their cup of tea.
absolutely.
But who cares? Because
We're not their cup of tea.
there's a group of other people that absolutely love our work and want to collect it, and they're the
Yeah,
people you should be focusing
yeah,
on. But that's good because there's art for
absolutely.
everyone, right? Because we're all
Art
different
for
people.
everyone.
Yeah,
Yeah, and actually, florals are one of the biggest sellers
they are
in the
actually,
art
which
world.
is handy that we love it.
Abstract is up there. Everybody loves florals. If you look on, anywhere in any of the magazines, the house magazines, there's always florals everywhere. So they are
Yeah,
popular, and I think they make people feel peaceful, and I think they make you feel relaxed. For me, like I
yeah,
get lost in some of these floral paintings, and I just think
yeah.
you could
Which is an
easily.
interesting thing you say that, because when I look at your paintings, I feel like I could get lost in them, which is funny because you lose yourself while creating them, but I think you give a space for
Yeah,
someone else to lose themselves while looking at it. And what's nice about your work is
yeah,
it's very multidimensional. So the more you look at it, the more you see, which is really beautiful. And it's why I
absolutely.
like your work, is
Thank
the
you.
different layers that you put in there. That's probably
Yeah,
from the different mark making you do, but yeah, it's so
yeah.
rich with detail. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Can I ask how
Thank you.
you
Because
know when to
yeah,
stop though? Because I struggle with that. I'm a bit maximalist
yeah,
sometimes, is knowing when to.
yeah, I absolutely know when to stop. I
Yeah,
know when to stop.
you
I
know when to
will
stop.
know when I let go, and I will just stop, and I'll
Really?
think that's finished. And
Wow.
I'll show my husband when he comes in, and he said, "Oh yeah, that's lovely." And he might say, "Oh, I liked it before you put those flowers on." And I said, "Well, actually, I needed to do that. That's it's not finished in my head." but I absolutely know when it's finished, and I'll never go back and sort of touch it up unless there's a gloomy one from a few years I might do something with. But in general, once I've finished, and I look at it and think, yeah, that's finished.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah, I rarely sort of go back.
Nice. So how do you give yourself the time to get your creative inspiration? Do you let yourself, like, what do you do? Do you go out in nature a lot? I'm assuming you have a lovely garden.
I do. I've got a little garden, and we live in the Norfolk Broads, and
Oh, wow.
we've got like a really nice barn conversion. We've got a duck pond opposite, not our duck
Ooh.
pond, but just in a little village. So it's very pretty around here, and
Yeah.
also we walk a lot, and it's beautiful. There's a lot of nature on my doorstep. So I
Wow.
tend to, like, one of my best paintings was a daisy meadow, and I just took a photo walking around the field of these daisies. But it's beautiful the way the sun was behind it, the way the sky was. So yeah, I take a lot of inspiration, all of my inspiration from nature. Or I might see a
Wow.
picture of something and then add my own bit to it. I might see a
Yeah.
sky I like on a picture and use the sky and then add my own flowers. Yeah.
Amazing. Can I ask if your Irish heritage has an impact in your artwork in any way? Does it inspire
I
anything?
think so. Absolutely huge, because when all my family are still in Ireland, I'm the only one here. So I've been here like 30 years now. So, well, not 30 years. I'm making myself sound older. About 29 years. So I think that these sort of meadows come from when I was a child. And when I was little, I would spend a lot of time outdoors, as you did back then, and I would just sit in a field all day on my own sometimes and just look up at the sky. And all I remember was see all these wildflowers and pieces of grass around me, and that still stays with me. And I found that a sense of peace, and it would just get me away from everything, and I would
Wow.
just go and stay there. And
That's
and that
beautiful.
has stayed in my brain. Yeah. So I think that's where the inspiration has come from, the Ireland side.
Wow, that's so lovely. And it's quite similar to
Yeah.
me because my mum, she's moved house now, but when I was growing up, I lived by the sea and we had this incredible garden, which was like a jungle. She'd like planted every flower known to
Beautiful.
man in that garden.
Yeah.
And I used to just spend hours just out in the garden, painting flowers, examining them. We had a tree house that I like nailed a load of fabric and curtains to, and it had a chaise longue. It was
Oh,
so fancy.
amazing.
But I used to just spend hours out
Amazing.
there. And maybe that's where you and me
Yeah.
love painting flowers because that was what our childhood was being brought up in them.
Yeah. I
Wow.
think it's a form of escapism as a child,
Yeah.
and it just gives you a lot of peace
Yeah.
and serenity. And I came from quite a big family, a big Irish family, so there was never peace. My house with lots of brothers and sisters, it was always busy. And I think I was quite different to everybody else, and I just liked that peaceful in nature. Yeah, and I still do. I love it. Love
Yeah.
nature.
Me too. It's so grounding, and we should make a concerted effort to be out in nature, especially us
Definitely.
us artists that paint it. Because sometimes,
Yeah.
do you ever find that you get into a flurry of needing to create art all the time, and you forget that you need to be
Yeah.
feeding that creative inspiration?
Absolutely.
You need to get out there and see
Yeah.
things, new flowers.
You
But
need to go out. You need to go and get some fresh air as well sometimes, and you just find yourself
exactly,
locked away in the studio for like 8 hours, and you think, oh, I really should get out and do something,
yeah, it's
And
crazy.
then you despise doing things that are wasting your time, like housework or things like that. I absolutely despise it because I
Oh
just think,
God,
well, I want
yeah.
to be creative. I don't want to be doing that,
I really
like
struggle with
wasting my
that.
time.
Or
Yeah,
sometimes though, I'll procrastinate by doing loads of housework instead of doing the art. I don't know why I do it. It's like self
yeah.
sabotage, where I'll be like, oh, I need to do this, and then I need to do
It's
this, and then by the time I get to painting, it's later in the day, and I've barely got any time till it gets
you're not in the
dark.
mood.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
why do
and
we do
you're
that?
tired. I know. I think we just want to get it all sorted and done. It's probably a bit of a control thing.
Yeah, probably. That is difficult though, isn't it?
It
Yeah,
is difficult to try and balance every sort of healthy aspect of life. Get your exercise in, eat
yeah.
properly, do your work, do your admin, do your
There's
social
so much to be
media. You've got
focusing
all
on,
these,
isn't there?
these guilt trips happening all the time. Cook dinner, do this, do that. And you just think, oh, just like your
God,
brain is
can't
so
we just
busy all the
be?
time.
But that's why,
Can we
again, it's
just be?
nice to paint because that's probably the only time you
So
actually do just switch off, isn't it? Is when you're losing yourself
it
in a
is.
painting. Which is probably why
It's
you
so
and me,
lovely.
most artists we know, are more chill than the average person, because we have that time of
Yeah.
stillness when we're creating,
Exactly.
which I think some
Yeah.
people miss out on, you know. Can
Oh,
I
they
ask,
absolutely do. They're missing out. Big time.
is there an emotion that you want to be portrayed in your artwork when people look at it? Is there something you want people to feel?
Definitely. Yeah. I think happiness. I want my paintings just to make people smile. And I think they do. I mean, all the commissions I've done, people say, oh, it's on my wall, and I just look at it. And as soon as I look at it, the sun's on it, I'm smiling. And I think, yeah, I just want people to feel a sense of peace and happiness, because that's what I feel from it. And sometimes people have got busy lives or sad lives or stressful lives, and sometimes it's quite nice just to take yourself away and look at
Yeah.
something and get lost in it and think, you know, I can just forget about life for a little while and just get in the wilderness that this meadow is or whatever, and then go back to normal life, you know.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's so lovely. Have you
Yeah.
got a piece that you're most connected to? Is there a piece that's most meaningful to you that you've created?
Strangely, this piece,
Really? Is
only
that because that's
because
your first
I
piece?
started. It's not necessarily my best work. It's not one of my favorites color wise or shapes. It means a lot to me because I had just started painting, and it has a lot of meaning behind it
Mm.
because this is how I started. It's quite simplistic, but this is the one that got the most commercial views and that went to licensing. And I just think, yeah, for me, this one's just got a lot of meaning personally,
I love that it's
you know.
pink as
And
well.
actually, it was a really popular one as well. Yeah,
Yeah, it's beautiful and amazing
thank
for one of
you.
your first paintings as well.
Yeah,
Fan-
yeah,
Have you done paint splattering? What kind of techniques have you used in that
yeah.
piece?
I see. If you look on here, most of these are fingerprint size.
Oh, really?
So a lot of it
Wow.
is like that,
That's so
just splattering
cool.
my fingers
Yeah.
full of paint, and then doing a lot of splashing with the paintbrush to make and then the cosmos flowers are kind of more fine art painting with paintbrushes, which
Cosmos
I don't
flowers. I
enjoy
love
as much.
that.
Yeah, these are cosmos flowers,
Brilliant.
and yeah, I really loved painting that one.
Yeah, that's gorgeous. Amazing.
Thank you.
So, what's an unexpected or strange source of inspiration that you've had with your painting? Is
Um,
there anything you've looked at and go, oh, that's inspired me?
yeah, that's a good question. Um, I'm trying to think what I've looked at that's inspired me. Strangely, cherry blossom trees. They
I
always
love a
inspire me.
cherry
As soon as I
blossom.
see a cherry blossom, I want to paint it, and I've painted so many. I love painting them, and yeah, I don't know. It's springtime. It's the first flower, one of the first flowers we see, isn't it? Because
It
I'm
is.
waiting for all the flowers to come out.
That's always a sign of
Yeah.
spring, isn't it? When the blossoms
It's
come
just a
out.
good sign of spring. Yeah, and
Yeah.
even when I go for a walk, and I say to my husband, "Oh, there's no flowers of like winter time." I'm every season I'm waiting for the flowers to come out because that's just what I love.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, just as soon as I see flowers, I love them.
Yeah.
I've got probably a billion photos on my phone of flowers. I'm just taking madness. I'm not another flower video, and I probably never use them. I can't help it. I want to capture it, you know.
Oh, well, that, if the inspiration's there, and luckily for us, it's all around us, and that's what's so amazing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Absolutely.
oh,
Yeah.
fantastic. You've
Yeah.
been absolutely inspiring to chat to today.
Oh,
It's been
thank
really
you, Sophia.
amazing. And it's really
Oh, it's
inspired
been a
me
pleasure.
to
Thank
push my
you.
art further and get back to it, and also to get out there and start having a look at these cherry blossom. Maybe do some paintings of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I want to see
fantastic.
your next painting on Instagram as a cherry blossom.
Yes, of course. You know what? I was actually, where was I? I was in Germany the other day, and I took some photos of an incredible blossom tree with this amazing blue
That's
sky
cool.
in the back. So maybe that could be the
Oh,
next
wow.
painting. Yeah.
Yes, no pressure.
Yeah, literally. Hold me to it. Well,
You
thank
can
you
say
so much
that.
for coming
Oh,
on.
thank you.
Where can people find you? Where can they see your art?
So mainly, as you say, on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, But mainly, I think most of my followers are Instagram and Facebook, I would say.
Yeah. Do you know off the top
Definitely.
of your head your username for Instagram and Facebook, just so they can look you up? If not, we can tag it in the links below.
Yeah, it's Siobhan McEvoy _art, but if you can tag it, because it's a bit of a mouthful.
Yeah.
Good Irish name.
Fantastic. Yeah. No, brilliant. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone that's listened in today. This has been a great chat.
Been a pleasure.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
It's been great. Thanks.
Thanks, guys. See you later. Creative Conversations was hosted by Sophia Gray. It was recorded at Granary Studios, audio production by Granary Digital, additional production support and editing by James Jones. For more information, visit our website at granary.digital. To contact the show, email podcast@granary.digital. Please leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts and follow us on social media.